Take a look at your company's org chart. Notice how it looks like a pyramid, CEO at the top, then VPs, then directors, then managers, and well, you. Everyone reports up, information flows down, and decisions get made at the top by people who are often furthest from the actual work. Now picture a battlefield in 1870. There's a general at the top, then colonels, then majors, then captains, then soldiers. Everyone reports up, orders flow down, and decisions get made at the top by people who are furthest from the actual fighting. Spot the pattern? Because there's a reason your Monday morning feels like marching into battle. Your company isn't just inspired by military structure, it is military structure transplanted wholesale from 19th century armies into 21st century businesses. Right now, over 90% of Fortune 500 companies operate with traditional hierarchical structures. We have executives who command from the C-suite. We talk about reporting chains and span of control. We even call lower-level employees foot soldiers and use phrases like the troops without thinking twice about it. But consider this. Armies weren't designed for warfare. Clear enemies, life or death decisions. Situations where speed and obedience matter more than creativity or innovation. So why are we using the same structure to build products, serve customers, and solve complex problems in a rapidly changing world? Let's go back to 1886 and meet the man who accidentally militarized American business. His name was Henry Fayol. And he wasn't trying to turn offices into battlefields, he was trying to solve a very practical problem. Picture the chaos of early industrial companies. You had hundreds, sometimes thousands of workers, but no real system for organizing them. Factory workers were basically winging it, and the results were, let's just say, messy. Production was inconsistent, quality was unpredictable, and nobody really knew who was responsible for what. Fayol looked at this chaos and thought, you know what really works well? The military. And honestly, he had a point. Armies had spent centuries figuring out how to coordinate large groups of people toward common goals. They had clear chains of command, defined roles, systematic communication, everything these early factories desperately needed. So Fayol literally took military organizational principles and applied them to business. Unity of command. Everyone reports to one person. Scholar chain. Clear hierarchy from top to bottom. Centralization. Important decisions made at the top. Order. Everything and everyone in their proper place. And you know what? For the problems of 1886, this was brilliant. When you're manufacturing the same product over and over, when work is predictable and standardized, when the biggest challenge is coordination rather than innovation, military structure makes perfect sense. Then, 2 world wars turbocharged this trend. Suddenly, business leaders were literally military leaders. Eisenhower went from supreme allied commander to corporate boards. Military officers became executives. The language, the thinking, the entire approach to organizations became even militarized. By the 1950s, this wasn't just how companies were organized. It was how we thought companies should be organized. Business schools started teaching military-inspired management theory. We developed concepts like strategic planning and tactical execution borrowed directly from warfare. But something interesting started happening in the 1980s and 90s. The business environment began changing faster than military-style hierarchies could adapt. Technology accelerated everything. Customer expectations became more complex. Competition went global. Innovation became crucial for survival. Suddenly, the very things that made military hierarchy effective, centralized decision-making, clear chains of command, predictable processes, became disadvantages. While hierarchical companies were still passing decisions up and down the chain, more agile competitors were empowering teams to move quickly and adapt in real time. Think about the most innovative companies you know. Google, Netflix, Spotify, even traditional companies that have transformed themselves. They're not abandoning structure entirely, but they're definitely not operating like armies. They have networks, not hierarchies. They have empowered teams, not foot soldiers waiting for orders. Yet most companies are still structured like they're preparing for the Battle of Gettysburg instead of competing in the information age. We're using an organizational model designed for predictable physical work to handle unpredictable creative challenges. So I challenged AI systems again to reimagine organizational structure from scratch. If you were designing a company today to maximize human potential and adapt quickly to change, what would it look like? The responses were fascinating, honestly, pretty radical compared to traditional thinking. AI suggested that effective modern organizations might look like ecosystems rather than armies. Instead of rigid hierarchies, you'd have dynamic networks where teams form and reform based on projects and expertise. Leadership would be contextual. The person with the most relevant knowledge leads, regardless of traditional rank. One AI painted this picture. What if instead of reporting up, people were accountable to outcomes? What if instead of waiting for permission from above, teams had clear boundaries within which they could make decisions and take action? But the most intriguing insight was about information flow. AI pointed out that military hierarchies were designed for an era when information was scarce and communication was slow. Today, when information is abundant and communication is instant, why are we still filtering everything through management layers? AI suggested something called transparent accountability, where everyone can see organizational goals, metrics, and progress in real time. Instead of managers translating information up and down the chain, everyone has access to the same data and can align their work accordingly. The AI even challenged the basic assumption that someone needs to be in charge of everything. What if teams were self-organizing about clear objectives? What if leadership emerged naturally based on expertise and situation rather than being assigned based on hierarchy? So there you have it. We're running 21st century businesses with 19th century military structures and wondering why innovation feels so hard and change takes so long. But I'm really curious about your experience with this. Have you ever worked in an organization that felt more like a network than an army, where decisions happened quickly and people felt empowered to act? Or maybe you're on the other side. You've seen what happens when there's not enough structure, when everyone's empowered, but nobody's accountable. How do you balance autonomy with coordination? And if you're in leadership, are you brave enough to question whether your organizational structure is helping or hurting your ability to compete? What would happen if you gave your teams more authority to make decisions and solve problems without waiting for approval? Drop a comment and tell me, what would your ideal organizational structure look like? Have you experienced the frustration of military-style hierarchy slowing down innovation? Or have you seen examples of companies that organize differently and actually make it work? If you're enjoying these deep dives into workplace assumptions that need questioning, hit subscribe, and I'll see you soon. I get it. Taking that first step can feel daunting. I've been there too. But here's the thing. You've got strengths you might not even realize yet. I've put together a free career mapping framework to help you uncover those hidden talents and chart your own path forward. It's not about changing everything overnight. It's about starting to see your potential clearly. Ready to explore? The framework's waiting for you. Just click the link in the description. Your future self will thank you for taking this small but powerful step today.